Hi guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to talk to you about hiring a bike in Vietnam. I hired a bike in Vietnam and we witnessed a horrific accident. I hope the guy's okay. It was pretty crazy. I'm not going to go into detail about it. It was a horrific accident. A scooter versus an electric bike. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Anyway, we rode on that bike for an hour to get to my son, and I'm just going to give you some tips and stuff that I learned along the way and sort of my feelings of the roads in Vietnam. Now, I'm just going to go into a point, like, I might get a little bit of hate for this, but unless you've been to Vietnam and you've driven a bike or you've seen the roads, then, like, this is my feelings. This is my honest opinion on really the Vietnamese people on the roads. So, in my opinion, they have no regard for other people's lives. Now, this might sound super harsh, but it's reality. They literally have no regard for their own life or other people's. Now, the reason I say this is because if you're driving along the roads here, people will pull out and not even turn their head to look down the road to see if anything's coming. They will literally not even glance down the road. Now, to me, that is crazy, and that's unforgivable. If someone was driving down the road, I mean, you see families here with a kid on the front, standing on the front, or even like sometimes they have these like makeshift little baby seats that like sit between the front of the seat and the handlebars. Sometimes they have a little baby in there. A lot of the times they have a toddler standing on the floor. They have a dad driving. Then they have a baby in the middle, and then they have the mother on the back. If a car or a bike pulls out without even looking and smashes into them, that's a big deal. I mean, that person didn't even look to see, and they're just pulling out into the middle of a busy road. It's just, I can't even comprehend that in my head. Like, surely that's just a natural thing that you would look and then pull out. I don't get it at all. Anyway, I'm going to get into these tips of driving while you're in Vietnam. My personal advice, it wouldn't be to hire a bike. I mean, for a start, the first tip is you are not legally driving in Vietnam unless you have a Vietnamese driving license. You can have an English driving license, American, it does not matter. You can have an international driving license, it does not matter. The law states in Vietnam you have to have a Vietnamese driving license, first of all. The second is, if you have insurance, okay, and you buy a bike over here or rent a bike, then you're not legally driving if you don't have that license. So, if you get into an accident, your insurance probably, unless you have amazing insurance, isn't going to cover you for your accident because you're not driving legally. Number 3 is an obvious one. I mean, wear a helmet. Even if it is one of those little piss pots that they give you. You don't see many people wearing the full face helmets here. It's just like the little pots that go on your head. I mean, even if they give you them, just wear them. At least if you do come off and bang your head at a low speed, it is going to protect you. I mean, at high speed it's going to do fuck all, but at least at low speed it might just stop you cracking your head open. And another big one is, loads of people wear flip-flops while driving a bike, and especially bikes with gears and foot brakes. Now, you don't want to be riding a bike with flip-flops on. You want a good pair of trainers or something. I mean, there's so many people here with bandaged ankles and stuff from like coming off bikes. I mean, your ankles and feet. Oh, I mean, if you cut up your toes and stuff while on a bike, it's gonna take a long time to heal. Like a long time. So just wear some trainers or some shoes. One of the big things I noticed here is size matters. So whoever's bigger than you has right of way, it seems like, in Vietnam. So either stay in one place, driving along on the side of the road and let them overtake where it's safe, or if it's massive, like sometimes when I was driving there'd be a lorry behind me trying to overtake. Now there's lorries coming the other way. So we're going around corners and stuff, and this lorry's trying to overtake me. Go a little bit faster, and then get around the corners wherever you're going, wait till the road's a bit clear coming the other way so he can properly overtake you without sort of pushing you off the road. Because a lot of the times on the side of the road there's loads of sand, there's loads of mud, and they will force you onto that, and that's not where you want to be on a bike. Or you could speed up a bit, get in front of him, enough time to sort of pull over, stop, get on the side of the road and just let him pass. I did that one time. There was a bus coming up behind me. You can hear them, they have really loud horns. Some of them have like quite funny horns. They'll press the horn when they're quite far behind you and you can hear them coming. Check your mirrors. Immediately I saw it was a big yellow coach. I was like, right, I'm not messing with this guy. I just pulled over, let him pass, carried on with my journey. A lot of the time as well while driving here, you'll be coming around a corner. Now they drive on the right here, so you'll be coming like round a right hand corner. So the best thing to do is hug the shoulder. So you want to hug the shoulder, you want to be about a meter away from the side of the road and basically keep on that line. A lot of the time when I was driving around the corners, buses, trucks, lorries, even cars, even other bikes are coming around in the middle of the road, like majority on my side of the road. It's just crazy because if another bus was coming the other way, it'd just be a head-on crash. I guess that's why they press their horns a lot of the time, because it's like, I'm coming, you shouldn't be in the middle of the road. So yeah, hug that shoulder, get yourself around the corner, and then hopefully there isn't a car trying to overtake another car while you're coming around the corner, because that does happen as well. If that does happen, then I guess you're in the bushes. That's all I can say. I mean, you're not going to go head on with a car, so you're just going to steer off into the bushes. Like I was saying before, a lot of the time this happens, so bikes, cars, blah, 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 will shoot out from side roads and not even look. So if you're going above like 40 k's per hour, then you've got a hard time sort of stopping for that if something does end up in your way. So best advice is obviously front back brake. I'd probably say out here you're going to want to use majority back brake, because if you do end up locking your front, there's a lot of sand, there's a lot of oil all over the roads. You're just going to end up locking your front wheel and you're going to be down to the tarmac. So you want to use majority back brake here. I'd say I always kept a finger on the back brake because it's so random. You do not know when people are going to come out. People just cross the road without even looking. It's just nuts. Like, there's no rhythm to it. It's kind of a rhythm, but there's not really a rhythm. I mean, if someone's going to come out of a road and not look, or a pedestrian's going to cross the road and not really look properly, then you sort of have no chance to stop if you're going too fast. So speed is a massive factor. Another big thing here is obviously if you're driving on the right hand side of the road, you obviously have the other road on the left hand side. Now, people that are coming out from the right hand side, from say a side road or something, the majority of the time what they'll do is they'll pop out of the road and then they'll drive against traffic near the curb, and then they'll drive along until there's enough gap for them to sort of cross over onto their side of the road. Now, this can look a bit sort of daunting when you're driving along, and it is, but you kind of just expect them to stay there until it's clear to pull out. Now sometimes they do pull out in front of you to try and get onto their side of the road. Yeah, so a lot of the times I was driving along and a guy would just like pop out, and then you just drive at me, kind of like on the, like a little bit away from me on the left. And I knew what he was doing. Obviously he's trying to like come down this way. It's almost like time is of the essence. Like, they can't waste any time just stopped there waiting for a gap to go over. They have to be moving. It's like embedded in their brain that they have to be moving, have to be the first one there, have to be the fastest one on the road. They have to get to where they're going as fast as possible, otherwise the world is going to end. That's kind of what it seems like when you're driving there. It's just crazy. I mean, you see people, trucks overtaking cars, and then up ahead is a big crossroad, so like they haven't really got anywhere, and then the car majority of the time just pulls around them again. It's just crazy. Another one is a lot of the time we were driving around sort of blind corners and stuff like that, and there would be livestock in the middle of the road, like big massive cows just chilling out in the middle of the road, chickens, dogs, cats, you name it, it'll be in the middle of the road if you come around that corner too fast. And you don't want to hit a cow, do you? I mean, I wouldn't want to hit a cow. And if you do drive here and you're driving legally or illegally, it doesn't matter. But I mean, the main thing is to be safe and look after yourself. And I'm not saying like you should never ever drive in Vietnam. I mean, loads of people do bike trips here, but I mean, you've just got to look after yourself. I mean, the last thing you want to do is come off and have broken bones. The last thing you want to do is crash into somebody. And if you are illegally riding, then when the police turn up and say, for instance, you have like severely injured somebody, then, and it's not your fault, then it will be pinned on you as your fault, and you will have to pay compensation to that family. And if you can't pay the compensation to that family, then you'll either be imprisoned or you will be kept in Vietnam until you are able to pay. So if you actually think about the consequences of crashing and the randomness of the roads and the likelihood of you being in a crash, which is actually quite high, I would say, then you kind of look at it and you think, yeah, I probably wouldn't hire a bike here or drive a bike here, because the reality of something like that happening isn't that far away. You do encounter a lot of things happening here. I mean, people don't use their mirrors, they don't indicate, have babies on their bikes with no helmets on. You'll see a guy going down the street like watching a YouTube video, texting on the phone. You'll come like past big groups of like 3 or 4 bikes in the middle of the road, and they're just having a full-on conversation like they're in a bar. So yeah, this is kind of like not a rant video, but I mean, if you really want to come over here and hire a bike, then please do your research. I mean, I would say you're better off trying to hire a monster truck, because then at least you're sort of the biggest one on the road and you can sort of do whatever you want, I guess. But I mean, that crash that we saw, I mean, the hardest thing was no one has any first aid skills here, so the kid's just lying in the middle of the road. I mean, seizing, having a fit, his head smashed open, and we drove for another 15 minutes and we saw the ambulance that was coming to get him. I mean, 15 minutes. I mean, it was another 15 minutes for that ambulance. I mean, the chance of him surviving that is minimal. It's actually minimal, and that could have been anyone. That could have been anyone. I mean, for them two people to come at each other like pretty much nearly head on and not even see each other, it's just fucking bizarre to me. If you have any questions down below, then let me know. I'll try and answer the questions and stuff. You can even go onto Backpack Yak and create a thread if you have driven in Vietnam. It would be really good for you to give other people tips on there. A lot of people do this, like drive bikes in Vietnam and do the whole route, so, and a lot of people do it safely, other people not so, but I'm just saying, like, this is my experience of riding a bike. Yes, I didn't ride a bike for very long here. Maybe if I'd rode a bike for longer here, I'd get into the rhythm of what happens, but why would you do that to yourself? Like, it's so random. We probably had maybe 20, 25 near misses on that hour's ride. I mean, if you have a near miss in the UK, it's a big deal, you know? Like, it's a big deal to have a near miss. It's kind of heart pumping, like you've nearly just hit something. So to have like 25 in an hour and then 25 on the way back, it's just not worth it, man. Seriously, it's just not worth it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Hit subscribe down below if you haven't already. I did do another bike video when I was in the Philippines, so if you want to go check that out, I basically talk about what to look for on the bike when you rent a bike. That's quite a good video. And if you are riding a bike, then have a safe journey today, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Bye!